Hi everyone, and welcome to Market Audience and Social Research, SPSS Workshop number 3. I'm Kelly Koff, and in today's workshop, I'll show you how to screen, clean, and transform data in SPSS. First of all though, we need to open our file. So head up to File, Open, and go across to Data, and click there. Now we need to find the data file for this exercise, which is SPSS Exercise 3 Dataset. Then hit Open. And that data will open for you. So straight away we can see we've got 6 variables across the top. So we've got Hope 1, Hope 2, Hope 3, Hope 4, Hope 5 and Hope 6. And then if we scroll down, we can see we have 100 cases here in our data. So the first thing that we want to do with our data is have a look if there's any errors. To do that, you can select Analyze, go down to Descriptive Statistics, and then head across to Frequencies and just click on that. This is going to open up a Frequencies dialog box. We just want to move all of these variables across to this side. So we can either drag and drop, we can click on the variable and click on this Add button, or we can select the top variable, hold down Shift, select the bottom variable. That's going to select all of these at the same time, and then we can drag them all across together. No right or wrong way to do that, just depends on your preference. Then we just need to hit OK. So here we have a receipt from SPSS. This is called an output, and we can see each of these variables, some statistics behind that. So Hope 1 looks fine. We have 100 cases and a total of 100. So that's fine. That's what we would expect to see. Hope 2 though, we've got a total of 99 cases with 1 missing data. Total there of 100. So we have some missing data there, but nothing untoward down here. Hope 3, we have 100 cases, no missing data. Hope 4, we have 2 missing cases in this one, so they've been coded as 9. Hope 5, we have some missing data, but we also have a response of 6. So we know from our previous entries that we can have 1, 2, 3, 4 or 5, but 6 is definitely an error there. So we need to remember that Hope 5 contains an error, and that error is the number 6. We'll just quickly check Hope 6. Hope 6 has some missing data, but no errors. So now we can go back and find this error. Just go back to your data editor. Now there's 2 ways we can find that error. We know it's in Hope 5, so we can just scroll down until we find it and then change it from there, which is around here. The other thing we can do though is we can go across to Edit, scroll down to Find, and now this has already highlighted the column of Hope 5, and we want to find the number 6 because we know that's what the error is. So we hit there and go to Find, and SBS takes us to case number 94, which contains that error. So if this was the market research, we'd go back to the survey and have a look at what the respondent actually selected. So let's pretend we've done that, and we know that the respondent selected 5 and someone's just accidentally put in 6. So we can correct that. Again, there's 2 different ways we can correct that. We can correct it here with the Find and Replace, just by swapping tabs to replace. If we put 6 in the Find and we want to replace that with 5, and then hit the Replace button, you can see that's going to do that straight away for us. The other way that we can do it is just to double click on that case and manually change it. So it was 6, we'll go in and change it. Okay, now that we've found and corrected that error, we can go on to section 4, which is recoding negatively worded items. Because what we want to do is calculate an overall measure of how each student feels about their future, we need to make sure that the scales of all of these variables are the same. And that consistency is really important for totals. So first of all, what we need to do is familiarise ourselves with what those variables are. So on page 13, you'll see that there's 6 different variables. The first is I feel optimistic about my future. That's positively correlated. Number 2 is I believe that every cloud has a silver lining. Another positive variable. 3 is I doubt that I can achieve what I want in life. That's quite negatively worded. So we'll remember that hope 3 needs to be changed. 4 is I have got what it takes to create a bright future. That's positive. 5, if anything bad can happen, it will. That's quite negative, so that's hope 5. And then hope 6 is I deserve to have good things come my way. So if we look at that, we can see that question 3 and question 5 are not consistent with the scales of the other variables. So we need to recode those variables. How we do that is we go up to transform. Now we're going to recode these variables into different variables. So come down to recode into different variables and select on that. Now we know it was hope 3 and hope 5. So we'll start with hope 3 and we'll bring that across. Either drag and drop or select the variable and hit add. So the first thing we need to do is change the name so we know which is the new variable we've created. I'm changing the name to this one to hope 3.1. Now hit change. Now I want to have a look at what the output is. The variables, the old value and the new value. So we need to reverse these. So when somebody answered 1, we need that to equal 5. So we're going to add that. If they answered 2, we want it to equal 4. If they answered 3, that remains unchanged. But if they answered 4 now, we want it to equal 2. And likewise, if they answered 5, we want that to equal 1. So just hitting add there. So you can see our old and new values, just reversing the scale there. So we'll hit continue and hit OK. Now down the bottom here, SPSS gives us a receipt to show that variable hope 3 has now been changed to hope 3.1 and the scale has been inverted. So now we need to do that for hope 5. So we go to transform, recode into different variables. We'll bring hope 3 back by selecting on that and hitting the back button, and then we'll bring hope 5 across, and we'll just do the same thing again. I'll change this one to hope 5.1. Now when we click on old and new values for this one, we can see that the scale is still there from the last one. So everything's as it needs to be. We can just hit continue and OK and make sure we get that little receipt from SPSS to show that that has been recoded. Okay, so now that we've recoded our negatively worded variables, we can recode the missing values using mean substitution. So just minimize that and come back to our data. So when missing data occurs in SPSS, there's 2 ways that a researcher can handle that. The first is the default in SPSS is it just doesn't pick up those missing values. The second thing that we can do though is to substitute the missing values for the mean or the average of the other values. So that's what we're going to do for this exercise. So first of all, what we need to do is find out what the average of all of these variables are. To do that, we're going to go up to Analyze, down to Descriptive Statistics, and then across to Descriptives. So now we just need to move the variables that we'll be using across to this pane here. So hope 1, hope 2, going to bring across the new variables. So hope 3.1, hope 4, hope 5.1, and hope 6. Now I'm just going to click the options and make sure that mean is ticked up here. We don't need these others, so I'll take those off. Just make sure mean's there and hit continue. Now we're going to hit OK. And here we have the average of each of those variables. So just pause the recording now and write those down because we'll need those numbers again in a second. The other thing to take note of here is the N. So this is the number of respondents. Hope 1, Hope 3.1, they're at 100, so there's no missing data there. So we only need to do this next exercise for Hope 2, Hope 4, Hope 5.1, and Hope 6. So these are the means that you need to write down. Okay, so now let's transform some variables. We'll minimize that. Then we'll go across to transform. Now we're going to recode into the same variable. So transform, recode into same variables, hit select. And now the first one that we need to do is Hope 2. So we'll bring that variable across. Now hit old and new values. So now this box here, which you're familiar with, I want you to go down and hit system or user missing. So this means if there's missing data, what SPSS is going to do with it is to substitute the value that we put in. So we know from that last exercise that the mean for Hope 2 was 4.31. So I'll put that value in and hit add. So now that missing data is going to be substituted with the average. Now hit continue and hit OK. We have our little receipt from SPSS here that says that Hope 2's missing value will now be 4.31. So now let's do that for the other variables. So transform, recode into same variable. Now we'll get rid of Hope 2, we'll bring that back, and we'll bring Hope 4 across. So select Hope 4, old and new values. Now SPSS is going to remember the last thing that you did, so we need to get rid of this. So click on the missing 4.31 and remove it. And now we can put in a new value. So that new value for Hope 4, we need to be 1.55 and hit add to that. Then continue and OK. Check that SPSS has given you a receipt. And now we can move on to the next one. Transform, recode into same variable. Now I'm going to go Hope 5.1. We'll bring that across. We'll bring Hope 4 back. So it's only going to be working with Hope 5.1. Our old and new values, again, we'll click on missing 1.55 and remove that. Put our new value in, which was 4.3434, and hit add. Now continue and OK. So here's our little receipt from SPSS. And now we'll just do the final one. So transform, recode into same variable, bring Hope 5.1 back, put Hope 6 across, old and new values, remove that last one, and put in Hope 6's mean, which was 3.63. Add that, hit continue, hit OK, and then we can see that that's been done. Okay, now we've recoded our missing values using mean substitution. We can move on to computing a total Hope score. So to do this, we'll minimize the output and we'll first of all click on transform and go down to compute variable. Click on that one and the compute variable screen will come up. So in this one, we want the target variable to be hope tot for hope total. And then just have a scroll down to have a look at all the functions that are available. So what I want you to do is click on all, and that's going to fill up this field here with the functions and special variables. And I want you to scroll down until you can find sum. It's S-U-M. And just click on that one. So this field here gives you an overview of how to set this field out. So we know that sum is the number expression and a comma, number expression and a comma. So what that's actually going to look like is, if we come up to the numeric expression, type in sum, open our brackets, and we want hope 1 with a comma, hope 2 with a comma, hope 3.1 with a comma, hope 4 with a comma, hope 5.1 with a comma, and then hope 6 closing the brackets. So this is our numeric expression up here. So this is going to give us the total of all of these variables. Now hit OK. And we can see down the bottom here, SPSS has given us our receipt. It says computing hope tot sum. Okay, so now SPSS has done that for us. We can go back and have a look at what that looks like. So moving on to question 7 is screen the composite variable for normality. So first of all, we're going to select Analyze, go down to Descriptive Statistics, and then across and scroll down until we find Explore. And then just click on that one. So now as we explore, we need to go down and find the new one that we've just created, which is hope tot, and bring that across to your dependents list. Now here we can have a look at statistics, plots, option and bootstrapping. Just have a quick look at descriptives or statistics, and we've got our descriptives there at a 95% confidence interval. That's fine. Continue there, and then plots. Just click on that one. In our box plots, we've got the factor levels together. We'll change stem and leaf to histogram. And we'll click normality plots with tests. So now we'll just click continue. Make sure that we're displaying both just by clicking that radial there, and click OK. So here SPSS gives us our descriptives. And if you keep scrolling down, there's our test of normality there, and here's our histogram. So here we can see the average, our standard deviation and the number of cases, and relatively normally distributed, but negatively skewed there. Here's our QQ plots, observed value. Okay, so now that you've finished that, we need to go to File, Save, or Save As. Save that as Tutorial 3. And then upload it to the LMS.